Think about how many people you interact with in a day. I'm not just talking about your spouse or your coworkers or your friends. I'm talking about those little daily interactions people forget as soon as they happen. Ordering coffee from the barista at your local coffee shop, making eye contact with other commuters on your way to work or school, asking a clerk at the grocery store to help you find something. Every interaction with someone is a connection with another human being, whether that person is your beloved family member or someone you've only just met and will never see again. Humans are social by nature, and each time you connect with someone, you learn something about being connected, to live as a social creature in our social world. Now imagine nearly all of those connections disappear overnight. Some people would be relieved for a while, seeing this as a break from having to use energy on other people when it could be used elsewhere. But after a few weeks, months, years, how long before you lost your ability to connect at all? In 2012, I had what I considered to be a pretty great life. I was a newlywed, we had just bought our first house, I was in school full-time, working, and starting my own business. I was volunteering at a place helping women with children. My life was full and busy, and I was happy, content, and confident. And then I got sick. When I got the news about my brain malformation, I wasn't really concerned. After all, we knew what was wrong: Arnold-Chiari malformation type 1. The way to fix it was surgery, removing a part of my skull and spine. I figured once I had found a surgeon and had my surgery, I'd be back on my feet in no time. But things started to go wrong. I was told not to work or drive until I had the surgery, which was okay. I'd take a break from my stressful schedule. I left college with 15 credits left until I graduated. I left my volunteer position and put starting my business on hold. Then surgeons started rejecting me. Doctors started refusing treatment. Weeks went by, and then months. I went on temporary and then permanent disability, and my job officially fired me. Years went by. The entire time I was stuck in my house. I couldn't leave unless someone came to get me in my wheelchair. Friends expressed sympathy over Facebook, but when I asked if anyone wanted to have coffee, nothing. I'd get messages saying, "Oh, girl, I haven't seen you in so long. We need to get together." And my heart would explode with happiness. I was gonna get to leave the house. I was gonna get to leave this prison. But they never followed through, and every time it broke my heart. I tried asking people nicely to help me get out of the house. I tried asking like I was joking. I tried being honest about how much it hurt me. I tried begging and getting angry and crying, and nothing worked. People were just too wrapped up in their own lives and their own problems. Rarely, a few times a year, someone would come and take me to go see a movie or to go out to eat. And every time it felt like the most amazing breath of fresh air, like I was alive again. But I'd get home, and then it would be weeks or months before I would leave the house again. All that isolation took its toll on me. My imagination worked overtime on a fake friend that I could talk to at night about all my fears. I stopped asking to be a part of things outside the house. Making eye contact became extremely uncomfortable. Then I stopped asking to leave the house at all. In fact, leaving the house started becoming scary. The gate at the backyard became a symbol. If I stepped through that gate, it meant I was going out in public and horrible things could happen to me. I didn't understand that I was becoming agoraphobic. I had 2 panic attacks on 2 separate outings, and I stopped going out altogether. Isolating myself like that led to me isolating myself online. It felt like friends on Facebook were judging me, so I started carving out big chunks of my friends list, purging people until there were less than 100 people left. After 4 years, I was at the end of my rope. I was so achingly lonely. My spouse and I spoke to each other for maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day before he retreated to his office and I was left alone again. It wasn't easy on him either. I had no one I felt comfortable opening up to, and didn't know if I was even capable of doing it anymore. As time went on and more doctors rejected me, I didn't really talk to anyone when I was struggling deeply with suicidal thoughts. My therapist was helpful with getting out of the house without panic attacks, but even he didn't know the extent of my depression. I'd occasionally write about it, but having a conversation, that became a foreign concept to me. I couldn't grasp how the ebb and flow of a natural conversation worked anymore, so I just avoided them. Being around people, something I used to thrive on, was a source of extreme anxiety. Even the thought of a conversation online made me sick with fear. And then, suddenly, nearly 5 years after my diagnosis, a surgeon said yes. Knowing I couldn't live like I was anymore, I had promised myself I would ask one more surgeon, and after that I would allow myself to die. Fully prepared for another rejection, I walked into that appointment prepared for death. And I walked out alive. On May 15th, 2017, I had part of my skull and spine removed. I spent 3 days in a hospital in Seattle and then came home to begin my recovery. Physically, I'm doing really well. But how do I recover from 5 years of isolation? How do I retrain myself not to fear the world? How do I learn how to have a conversation again? How do I practice making eye contact without scaring unsuspecting strangers? Humans are social creatures, but I've forgotten how. Have I lost my ability to connect for good? I don't know. All I know is I'm not gonna let fear steal any more years from me. For the first time in years, I finally get to live.